them up, tell them what you want. You got a number on the bottom of the screen. We're going to be blessed all night by Letitia, and we're going to talk to her as well. At the end of the show, God is doing some amazing things through all of these ministries. Tonight, though, we've got a couple of great people on the set with us tonight. We've got Janine Garman and Michael Dunnigan. Did I get it right, Michael?
That's correct.
And they have a great ministry. She has a great ministry, and it's called Priceless Diamonds. She has a tremendous testimony. Both of them do. And what they're doing is fresh and new. It's what the body needs. Actually, it's what the world needs. And they are coming on the set with us tonight and going to share their testimonies. And you can be blessed by it. Stay tuned because these testimonies are going to bless you. It's good to have you all. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of Atlanta Live. We're grateful you're here. Talk to us, Janine, Michael. You guys are working together because there's a lot of things that teenagers are going through. And you can relate. So talk to us a little bit about your testimonies and how everything come about and what Priceless Diamonds is. So let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about your life, where you are in life, and how it's brought you to this moment.
Oh, wow. The reason the foundation came about is due to my past. Mm-hmm. And I want to be transparent through my story to actually help children of abuse and kids that have been trafficked. Yeah. I have not been trafficked, but I've definitely been around adult entertainment basically since I've been 13 years old. So I've seen the industry, I've seen how it damages people, and a lot of kids that are abused actually turn into adult entertainment. They turn to drugs, they turn to drinking. And with the foundation, what I want to do is raise a lot of awareness due to the fact that a lot of people don't realize that it's going on in their neighborhood. Wow. They overlook, children that are being abused, and sometimes they tell them. And once a child tells you what's going on and you turn the other cheek, it shuts them down. So with my company and my story, I want to identify the different signs and to be transparent.
Okay. So your company actually helps these children have somebody to talk to. Mm-hmm. And, you talked about your testimony. You said you've been in the adult industry since 13.
Yes.
How did that evolve? I mean, how did somebody pull a 13-year-old and think it was okay? Did you promiscuously move that way, or did you feel kind of like, what evolved, what triggered that at 13 that said, you know what, I'm going to go do this with my life?
Well, at first, around 9 years old, there was a family member that actually was molesting me and other family members, and I ran away from that situation to go into another situation of being physically and emotionally abused. There was a lot of drugs going on, a lot of drug dealing, a lot of hustling, and I didn't want to be home no more, even though I had a home to go to. The activities that was going on there, I didn't want to be around. And then with the abuse that I was seeing and that I was living through, I just left. So when I left my home, I turned to the streets. And I started selling drugs first, stopped selling drugs, and then went to adult entertainment.
And by 18, you were running?
The day I turned 18, I opened one of the biggest adult entertainment agencies in the Midwest.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So where are you with that now? What's transpired from that?
I've actually closed it down when I turned 29. Wow. I successfully ran it for years, and I shut it down due to there was still a void no matter how much money I was making, and I was making over $250,000 a year. I was very blessed financially, but emotionally I was just drained.
Really?
So it's shut down, and now I'm actually studying ministry, and I'm doing the foundation, and I just love God and ministry and everything.
So you're in a place right now where God came into your life a few years back, mm-hmm. and you said, okay, now I can function. This stuff, that I've had a void in my heart, or I felt just empty inside. Is that kind of what you felt?
Right. No matter how much I had materialistic-wise, new cars, homes, whatever, I was still empty. And the only reason I'm alive today is due to, I was a young mother at the age of 15, but he was such a blessing. I mean, he's the love of my life. Wow. But I would have gave up a long time ago. But due to him and due to God, I'm here on your couch.
That's incredible. And I met, his name's Divine.
Yes, his name.
So you already knew he had a call in his life already.
Yes.
To name him Divine.
Yes.
He's a really cool guy. I met him back in, so here you are now saved. Mm-hmm. You have all of these things that have happened to you, but at the same time, did you feel like sometimes like the money and the industry and all that, do you feel like those are lures from almost from the enemy, just saying, hey, look what I can give you, but they just have no substance to them at all. Because a lot of girls or a lot of teenagers, period, across, because we're going to talk about yours in a minute, Michael, they'll chase after that, and they think that that's going to fulfill them. Do you feel that that's what happened with you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was running from one situation and got into a bad situation, even a worse situation, quote unquote. I got away from the abuse at home, but then, just because people thought I was attractive or I was a dollar sign, they let me work at their clubs and, at their agencies and things like that. And so then I started chasing the money, and then I started drinking. I tried some drugs, but thank God none of it agreed with me besides occasionally drinking some alcohol. So I'm thankful that that's not part of my testimony.
I got you. And you're sitting on the set here with Michael. Now, he's new to you, I guess,
right.
Within the last, how long, a year or 6 months? Or?
Yeah, we knew you about a year.
Yeah.
And you have a past, and it wasn't driven by molestation, but you are just experimental, right?
My past was actually totally different. I was raised in a real Christian family, totally functional. At the age of 14, I was saved, and then just actually entered the world of drugs for a long time.
Really?
And then actually, I was married young, had kids real young, had a bad marriage, got out of it, remarried, and then what happened with molestation with my family was I had a family member molested by another family member, and that's what led me to meet Janine.
Okay.
I actually found her on Facebook, and
wow.
She convinced me I needed to tell my story of what happened to my family member, and at that point, I did not want to tell. I don't want to, but she kept on and on at me, so finally I wrote the story, and when I wrote it, and she posted it on her webpage, it basically just opened my heart up.
Isn't that amazing?
Changed me totally.
So, it's tough for people to share their story when they've been through something. Why is it, help us understand, what makes people not want to share what has happened to them? Is it shame? Is it guilt? What's the things that go through people's minds that make them not want to, here's what happened to me? Can you help me with that?
I think me telling my story was, since it was not me that was molested, it was a family member. I didn't know if I really needed to share what happened to this person, but
confidence.
Yes, but when Janine kept on, Michael, you need to tell your story, and I didn't realize I had so much hate built up in me. But I was actually sitting in my bed on the computer, and I said a prayer, God, please help me write this story. And I remember I told my wife, I said, I've got to get up and go to my desk. And I went and sat down, and I just wrote the whole story, and she posted it the next day. Changed my life totally.
Changed your life?
Totally.
Did
just
you,
writing that story.
Did you feel forgiveness?
Oh, yes.
You released it?
And in the next couple of days, with Janine mentoring me and talking to me, yes, it totally changed my life.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Took anger out of my heart. I don't get angry. I have a job to where pressure and anger can really come out of me, and it totally changed my heart.
Okay. Well, Janine, you helping him kind of opened up here. So a dialogue about how do you help people? How do you help children? How do you help people such as him? And what are some things, what are some 1, 2, 3s that you bring to the table or to help people in a situation like this?
Well, first off, I'm very compassionate, and that's the key to when I'm working with anyone and mentoring them. And then also I'm available, because a lot of things happen when someone can't reach someone to talk to them, and they can't speak to them and say, hey, I'm going through this crisis, what's going on?
Right.
They're crying, or they're sad, or the person that they want to talk to is not available. I'm definitely, my heart goes out, and I want to be available 24/7. So them two key factors is being available and being compassionate and not being judgmental would be the third one.
Not being judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, isn't it?
Yes.
Because when people feel judged, they don't open up.
Right.
Do you, your goal when you are starting to mentor, and you are trying to get kids, teenagers, you're trying to raise an awareness is what you're doing with Priceless Diamonds, right?
Correct.
That there's more to life than just sex trafficking, or do some of these children, do they do it voluntarily, or are they forced into doing it, or you just at any cost you're trying to get them out of that lifestyle?
Right. When it comes to children, sometimes they're running from home, like I did. I just left. I didn't want to be at home. So you have children that don't want to be home because they're in a worse situation, and they run to the streets, and that's when, pimps prey on them and things like that, and they get into the industry.
Okay. What are some, let's just say some people are watching tonight, what are some pre-warning signs? Maybe they, because here's what's so crazy is you guys have a little bit of a dramatic difference. I mean, here you are, 12, 13 years old. You not have the roots that he had as a Baptist boy growing up in the roots of church and religion, and you're experimental, but you're not there. It's just like, I'm just going to go after the world with all my heart, and you're kind of, just, you've been raised different, but now you're turned back. So, what are some warning signs? Because it doesn't matter really where they're from, right?
Right. Yeah, there's definitely, you can't say due to an ethnic background, through culture, through finances or anything like that, economy. The signs that I would basically look for, if the child starts to change, if they go from one way to another and they lead drastically changes due to the way they dress, they just don't want to talk to you no more, not normal teenage stuff. I mean, they're like really just not wanting to deal with you at all. And then you see the signs of maybe they're on drugs,
okay.
Or they're covering themselves a lot. Kids that normally are being abused, they wear longer shirts. Kids that are using drugs, they'll use eye drops, or they'll wear hats a lot. They'll, glasses, things like that. So they're trying to cover up what they're doing. And then the type of friends, we don't want to put labels on them, but sometimes, you can judge their friends off of what they're doing. And them are really good signs to pay attention to.
And that's incredible. These are wonderful things. Now, what are some ramifications? What are some things that are going to happen to some of these kids if they don't get help? Where are they going to go? What's going to happen to them? I mean, you're dealing with them all the time. They're calling you, they're talking to you. What are some things you're seeing where they are right now? Like, man, this is last rope information.
There's definitely two keys that happen with children that start out like this.
Okay.
One, suicide, and two, the prison is full of adults that used to be abused as children. So that's what we're trying to stop.
Do you find somewhere in this the role of the father is missing, or that is a strong root of some of you're predominantly dealing with girls, right? Or is there some?
Well, there is some young boys that actually go through being molested also.
Wow. Do you find that it stems from a father, or is it just a man in the family? Is it a family situation?
Family, friend, but it's normally 90% of the time it is someone that they know.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine was family.
Yours was family. Now, I pulled this off of y'all's website. More than 5 children die every day because of these things that happen. It's an estimated that 90% of juvenile sex abuse comes from the perpetrator in some way, is the people that they know. And 30% of them will later abuse their own children, creating a horrible cycle. So you're saying on your website, which is pricelessdiamonds.org, you're getting this. There's tons of information on this website telling about all the statistics, and it's great information. If you're a pastor and you want to help a congregation, you need to get this information right away. Pricelessdiamonds.org. There's a lot of stuff on there. It talks about the psychological disorders. It talks about how much money in America has been vested out to do this trafficking. It's amazing. This is an industry.
Yes.
And do you ever go out and just hit the industry? I mean, here you are. You just had an adult entertainment. Do you ever, that you just shut down, do you ever go out late at night and help these people? Do you ever find yourself? Can you give us an example of maybe some people that you called and talked to on the phone recently?
Yes, I've actually talked to one young lady, and due to her and her mother, battling back and forth, she actually left the home, and she had a friend of hers that introduced her to entertainment, quote-unquote escorting, and they actually started running an ad, and she was in a hotel, and she actually seen my website, and she also knew someone that knew me, and she called me, and she just broke down. She started crying. There was nothing really going on at home, but she was, getting bullied at school, and she had a lot of issues at school, so she was running from school, not home. home per se.
Wow.
And I just talked to her. I let her know that the safest place for her was to be home. And she did go back home. You know, it was a reunion that was a blessing and awesome. The family just, you know, embraced her. And so she is out of the streets. So we definitely do work with kids. And that's why I say I'm available 24/7. Because if I can't help you when I'm talking to you, I know other agencies that can, depending on what the situation is.
Right. So, you know, you're here, like we said, you're here raising an awareness
Correct.
of what's going on. And you work with other agencies, per se, ministries or anything like that, that helps these kids get off the streets and gives them the resources that they need. You got a lot of motivation here about this. So this thing's young. This thing started this January.
Yes.
When you rolled it out, what were you thinking? Oh my God, what am I doing? Or just, I'm so excited, this is going to be an incredible thing?
Both.
Really?
Both, yes.
Awesome, awesome. So you've got some things on the making as well, right? Talk to us about that. You're partnering up with Chefs of Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about the motivation, the reason behind that.
Yes, I'm definitely networking with all chefs in all major cities. And what we're doing is trying to get 2 recipes from the chefs to donate. And we're going to put them in our book with a bio. And what the cookbook's going to state is Chefs Against Child Abuse. And then the proceeds will go to raise more awareness.
That's incredible.
Yes.
So, you know, do you have to be a chef? Can you be a pastor? That just likes to cook?
Yeah, of course.
As long as it's good.
As long as it's good.
Right.
That's fun.
Yeah, we need a lot of help with the chefs.
Yeah.
Because we were going to try to do it like going to each restaurant and pass out the letter, but that was very time consuming. So
Absolutely. Well, you know, our best, you know, our wishes upon that. I believe God's going to anoint that. Anytime you're dealing with the enemy's territory, like in church world, we call it, you know, the enemy's camp. You know, a lot of us, we go to church and we don't see all this. We go home and we don't realize that people are dying and hundreds of thousands of kids are in this industry. And, you know, you look at it, and then there are actual adults that come and be entertained by this kind of stuff that, you know, getting entertained by somebody else's pain. That's tough as a pastor, because you want to kind of go out there and wring their necks and, you know, just say, what are you thinking? But do you find that most of these, a lot of people think that they're just runaways and give-ups and mom and dad weren't there, but some people come from affluent society. So what do you want to see in the next 3 to 6 months? What do you want to see God do with Priceless Diamonds?
save children.
Oh, yes.
That's the big motivation.
Yes.
That would make me happy for that to be on my tombstone, that this man saved 1 child.
I think you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think you're going to do that. That's incredible. Well, I want you to take a minute. Here we are, pricelessdiamonds.org. You need to go to this website, get the information you need to. If you know somebody that is maybe showing some of these warning signs that Janine talked about, and Michael, if you know some of the things that they're going through, and you're saying, you know what, that's somebody I know, I want you to go to pricelessdiamonds.org. Reach out. They've made it available for you to get to them 24/7. But here in a minute, I'm going to ask Janine, who's relatively 4 years young into being saved, and
yes.
and her life's changing around, part of a great church here locally in Atlanta, to say a prayer over you and your children. If you don't mind, Janine, would you mind? And you need to call that number on the bottom of the screen, and you need to say, hey, you know what? I've got a son, I got a daughter, I got a family member that has been molested, and I want to see them touched by God. And give us their names. And I believe Janine is going to help them out. Janine, would you say a quick prayer?
I definitely will. I just want to say, Heavenly Father, touch everyone that is watching this broadcast, all the children's lives. You see what they're going through. You see what they need. You see the doors that need to be opened to them, to their families, to help minister to them. You see the awareness that needs to be raised in this situation. Lord, you know the kids that are suffering, in this situation, Lord. We ask you just to lay it on each other's hearts, everyone's hearts that's watching, that if they see this and they know what's going on, to reach out to you, Lord, to reach out to us, Lord, or to reach out to another organization and get their kids help. Do not keep allowing this to happen. In your name, Jesus, I know you're watching, and we love you. Amen.
Awesome. Awesome. Listen, I hope you were blessed. You need to go to pricelessdiamonds.org, get some more information about this. Partner up with this great ministry. This thing is new. It's jumping. I think, from what I understand, Atlanta is a high area for sex trafficking and young children being in that kind of an industry. And even, molestation is is rampant across the world. Over $124 billion a year is pumped into this industry because it is something that's really, sin is expensive. Always. It'll be free at first. It'll charge you, though, at the end of the life there. It's a buy now, pay later kind of thing. I want you to know, we agree with Janine and Michael and their ministries, pricelessdiamonds.org, and they've been a great blessing. If you are in a situation, call that number on the bottom screen. Right now, we're going to go to the phones.
God bless you, and welcome to the Prayer Room. I'm Evangelist